Welcome to Tungal online classes. So till now we discussed motion in straight line chapter. So after completion of the chapter, now we start today motion in a plane. And this motion in a plane, first we discuss regarding the vectors. So generally physical quantity. So what is physical quantity? Any quantity which can be measurable. It's called as physical quantity. These physical quantities are two types. One is scalar physical quantities, other vector physical quantities. So what are the scalar physical quantities? Those physical quantities which having only magnitude, no direction. Such a physical quantities are called as scalars. The example for the scalar physical quantities: mass, so length, time, distance, speed. So etc. are the example for the scalar physical quantities. These scalar physical quantities can be added by using general algebra method. Okay, so normal addition methods are useful for adding up the scalar physical quantities. So after this, what are the vector physical quantities? Vectors means what? So vectors are the physical quantities which having both magnitude and direction, and also which obey laws of vector addition. So last point also important. Vectors in the sense simply we will consider which having magnitude and direction, but not only magnitude and direction, but also they should obey so laws of vector addition. What are the laws of vector addition? We will come to. So that laws valid, then only they called as vector physical quantities. So what are the example for the vector physical quantities? Like displacement, velocity, acceleration, force, linear momentum, angular momentum, torque, etc. are the example for vector physical quantities. So here one important point, electric current. So electric current, though it having both magnitude and direction, electric current, both magnitude and direction, but still it is a scalar physical quantity because it does not obey laws of vector addition. Like velocity of light also, though it having both magnitude and direction, it does not obey laws of vector addition. So that's why it is which quality? It is a scalar physical quantity. So that is for vectors. Then how these vectors can be represented? A representation of vectors. A representation of vectors. Vector representation. Generally, vector will be represented by a directed line segment. That you know that. So that line segment, line with the arrow. Arrow indicates the direction. So length of the line segment will give you magnitude. If I represent this is some OA. So okay, a vector can be represented by directed line segment. The length of the line segment will give you magnitude, and arrow will give you the direction. Okay. So let already regarding the types of vectors you know. So let me discuss. What is few points? What is unit vector? What is the meaning of unit vector? How it can be represented, and how to find out the unit vector of any vector? When a vector is called as unit vector, a vector of magnitude 1 unit is called as unit vector. Okay. So what is the direction of unit vector? For example, let me take one vector. So one vector is given by a bar. This vector also having magnitude and direction. So the magnitude of the vector is given by modulus of a bar or simply a. So direction of the vector can be represented by a unit by a vector. So whose magnitude is 1 unit, that is given by a cap. A bar is the vector which having magnitude and direction. Magnitude is given by modulus of a bar, and direction is given by a cap. That a cap only called as what? Unit vector. So what is a cap is equal to? A cap is equal to a bar divided by how much? Modulus of a bar. This modulus of a bar value is equal to a bar divided by, can be also written as e. So unit vector notation, remember always a cap. A cap is equal to a bar divided by which one? E. What is the direction of this unit vector? So unit vector direction will be always in which direction? In the direction of given vector. Okay. So unit vector. After completion of unit vector, so what is the meaning of null vector? Null vector means what? Name itself is telling the vector of zero magnitude is called as null vector. So in case of, for example, a particle moving in a circular path, particle completed so rotation once. For one complete rotation, what is the displacement value? Will be 0. So that time after completion of one rotation, the displacement will be of null vector. The direction of null vector we cannot determine, undetermined. Okay now, so that is for null vector. Next one is, what is the meaning of position vector? Position vector. A vector which represents the position of a point in a space. So let me consider this let me consider one point P. So here origin is there. If I draw one line segment joining O and P, so OP bar is representing one vector. That OP bar can be written as what? R bar. So what is R bar? Name is called as position vector. So position vector is a vector which represents the position of a point in a space. Like so when vectors are called as equal vectors. When two vectors of equal magnitude and equal direction, so they are said to be equal vectors. Okay, so definitions already you studied. So this is for the representation and unit vector, null vector and position vector. So after completion of this, next we will discuss vectors resolution. What is resolution of vectors? Vector resolution. A resolution of vectors. So resolution of a vectors is nothing but it is a process of splitting a one vector into two or more vectors. Sometimes we need to split a one vector into two or more vectors. That process is called as what? A resolution of vectors. So let us consider one vector. So let me call this vector name is A1. This vector is making an angle theta with x-axis. In order to find out, in order to split this vector, draw a normal onto x-axis and y-axis. So what is the distance between from O to, let me call this point name is P, and this point name is B, and this point name is C. So this OP bar is indicating one vector that is given by, so it's called, it's this one now. So actually, so what are the vectors which are divided? The given vector is divided into the number of vectors now. The divided vectors are called as components of vectors. Now components of vector A bar, so one is x component Ax and y component is given by A1. How can you calculate Ax value from this right angle triangle OPP? So what is cos theta? Cos theta value is equal to Ax divided by which one? A. From this what I get Ax value? Ax is equal to A into cos theta. Similarly sin theta value is equal to how much? Sin theta is equal to Ay divided by E. So what is the value of Ay is equal to? Ay is equal to A into sin theta. When I know Ax and Ay, what is Ax and Ay called as? Ax and Ay called as components of the vector A1. If the components are mutually perpendicular, those components are called as rectangular components. So maximum rectangular components will have 3. A vector may have components more than 3 also, but rectangular components are only maximum how many? 3 are. Then when I know Ax value and Ay value, so I can represent the given vector A bar in terms of Ax into Ay, so which is given by Ax into I cap plus Ay into j cap. Because Ax is the horizontal component along x-axis, Ay is the vertical component along z-axis. I cap and j cap are the unit vectors along x-axis and y-axis. Then how can we calculate the magnitude of A bar? Magnitude of A bar is given by Ax square plus Ay square. This is the formula to calculate the magnitude. Okay, so let us see one example for the resolution of vectors. In order to understand where we come to know in resolution of vectors, let us see one example. A bob of a pendulum, so suspended by a string of length here. Now by using some horizontal force, bob is given a displacement. A force F applied on the bob. Because of the applying force, the displacement value is let me call x. So this value will be of L. Then this value will become L square minus x square. Bob is displaced by an angle theta. Whenever bob is in mean position, so total weight of the bob will act vertically downward direction. So for every action there is equal and opposite reaction. Tension in the string is given by T. But at this position, when bob is pulled aside by making an angle theta, so tension in the string is there at T. So it will be resolved into two components. So if this is theta, this is also equal to theta. Then tension components are given by, so this component is T cos theta and this component is given by T sin theta. But remember, in vector resolution, so which component will become cos theta, which component will become sin theta? With which the vector is making an angle theta. So that component here, angle is made by A bar theta with the horizontal, then Ax value A cos theta. If it is making an angle theta with the y component, then Ay value become A cos theta. So here t making an angle theta with the vertical. So this component is t cos theta. T cos theta balanced by which one now mg, and t sin theta balanced by which one f. For equilibrium, what is the condition given by for equilibrium? T cos theta value is equal to mg, and what about the t sin theta value is equal to, so t sin theta value is equal to f. From this, t cos theta is equal to mg, so t is equal to mg divided by cos theta. So what is cos theta value? Cos theta value will be given by root over L square minus x square by L. Then what will get t is equal to m into g into L divided by root over L square minus x square. So if I call it as equation 1, if I call it as equation 2, by dividing equation 2 with equation 1, then what will get the value? T cos theta by t sin theta. So t sin theta by t cos theta, that is tan theta. Tan theta value will be equal to how much? F divided by mg. F divided by mg. Or otherwise, F is equal to mg into tan theta. Regarding like this, we can discuss. We'll get this concept further classes. Here just I want to show the example how to resolve the vector. So which is the vector? Here we resolve the tension. Tension is resolved into how many components? Two components which are mutually perpendicular. Such a components are called as rectangular components. So one is of t cos theta and other is of t sin theta. Understood now? So this is for the example for resolution of vectors. After this example, like this, in this example we can also calculate the tension value by using equation 1 and 2. Okay. So I think this example understood now. Now, after this, what is the meaning of direction cosines? Directional cosines. Direction cosine. For example, one vector is given. So that vector is A1. If this vector is making an angle alpha with x-axis and beta with y-axis, alpha with x-axis, like similarly beta with y-axis, gamma with z-axis. By using this vector resolution only. So when it is making an angle theta with x-axis, what is cos alpha? Cos alpha value is equal to ax by a. Cos alpha is equal to how much? Ax divided by a, because here I will draw a normal. So this value will become ax. For suppose if it is making an angle beta with y-axis, then what I will get? Cos beta for finding this. So if this angle is beta, cos beta is equal to ay divided by a. Similarly, so in this case, if it is making an angle gamma with z-axis, so cos gamma is equal to az by a. This cos alpha, cos beta, cos gamma are called as direction cosines. What they indicating? They will indicate what is the angle made by, so given vector with x-axis or y-axis or z-axis. So what is the relation between these direction cosines? We get cos square alpha plus cos square beta plus cos square gamma. So is equal to 1. This is the relation between the directional cosines. Okay now? Cos square alpha plus cos square beta plus cos square gamma is equal to 1. So from this also we can write sin square alpha plus sin square beta plus sin square gamma. So this is also equal to how much? This is equal to 2. By writing sin square alpha plus cos square alpha is equal to 1. So cos square alpha is equal to sin square 1 minus sin square alpha. By using that relation, we get sin square alpha plus sin square beta plus sin square gamma value will be equal to 1. Here know that what is alpha beta gamma. Alpha beta gamma are the angle made by, so vector A bar with x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. So these are called as what? Directional cosines. After completion of this directional cosines, next we will discuss. So mainly in this chapter we have to discuss for vector addition, subtraction and multiplication. So first we will discuss for addition of vectors. Vectors addition or addition of vectors. So first, before going for this addition of vectors, all vectors cannot be added. Only the vectors of same type. For example, displacement can be added to displacement. Velocity can be added to velocity. So what does it mean? Vectors of same type only added. For this addition of vectors, we have two methods are there. Graphical method is there, analytical method is there. So we discuss for analytical method. In this analytical method, so we have three laws are there. First law is done by parallelogram law. Parallelogram law of vector addition. Second law is given by triangle law of vector addition. The last law is given by polygon law. So polygon law of vector addition. Polygon law of vector addition. So these are the three laws. We can use any law. If you want to add two vectors, you can go with parallelogram law or triangle law. If you want to add more than two vectors, we can discuss for this polygon. So first we will discuss for parallelogram. Parallelogram. So what is parallelogram? This law is very important for us. We will get many number of numericals based on this parallelogram law. So what is parallelogram? Let us consider two vectors are represented by two adjacent sides of a parallelogram. Let us consider two vectors. One is given by p bar, other is given by q bar. While writing the vector notation, you know that now we need to put the arrow. So two vectors are drawn from the same initial point. When two vectors are drawn from the same initial point, such vectors are called as co-initial vectors or concurrent vectors. So let us suppose two vectors p bar and q bar drawn from the point O. By taking these two vectors as two adjacent sides, so what I am constructing one parallelogram. So let me call this parallelogram name is OABC. That is the name I call OABC. Then according to the parallelogram, so the diagonal drawn from the same initial point. So this is the diagonal drawn from the same initial point will represent the resultant vector. So what does it mean? R bar is equal to P bar plus Q bar. R bar is the resultant of P bar and Q bar. So here let us suppose theta is the angle between P bar and Q bar. So P bar and Q bar. Then R bar is equal to P bar plus Q bar. Already we derived the derivation. What is the magnitude of R given? The magnitude of R is given by the formula P square plus Q square plus 2 into P into Q into how much of cos theta. So what is theta here? Angle between the P bar and the Q bar. So what is the direction of R bar? For example, if the resultant R bar is making an angle alpha, with which one? P bar. What is the formula for tan alpha? Tan alpha is equal to Q into sin theta divided by how much of P plus Q into how much of cos theta. Okay now? This is the formula for calculating the direction. If the resultant vector making an angle beta with the Q bar, then what is the formula for tan beta? So we can write it as P into sin theta divided by Q plus P into cos theta. Clear now? So these are the two formulas for calculating magnitude and the direction. So let us see some special cases which are related with this parallelogram. So special cases. Here we will come to know definitions of vectors also. First one, if theta is equal to 0. Theta is equal to 0 means theta is the angle between P bar and Q bar. When theta is equal to 0, P bar and Q bar both are in same direction. When two vectors are in the same direction, such vectors are called as parallel vectors. So which one parallel? That is P bar and Q bar is parallel. That time what happened to R is given by, so R will become maximum. That maximum value given by R max. R max value is equal to P plus Q. I am writing. Actually I need to substitute the theta is equal in this formula. Then what will get? So R is equal to P square plus Q square plus 2 into PQ. This is of the form A square plus B square plus 2AB. So A plus B whole square. Then under root term. That's why what I will get? R is equal to P plus Q. You have to remember when resultant of two vectors is maximum. So when two vectors are parallel, the resultant value will be maximum. R maximum formula how much? P plus Q. If I substitute this theta is equal to 0 in this formula, so we get directly substituting tan alpha value also equal to 0. So alpha is equal to 0. Alpha is equal to 0 means the direction of the resultant vector in the direction of P bar and Q bar. In this question, so P bar and Q bar both are parallel. This is P bar and this is Q bar. Both are parallel. how will be the resultant R bar? R bar also in the direction of P bar, Q bar. Understood? So this is the case when vectors are parallel vectors. The second case, if the vectors are anti-parallel. Anti-parallel means if theta is equal to 180. When two vectors which are in opposite direction, so 180. When theta 180, so R value will become minimum. R minimum value will become P minus Q. This is P minus Q if P value greater than Q. Otherwise, what is the formula for R minimum? R minimum is equal to Q minus P. When we need to use this formula, if Q value greater than Q. Similarly, substituting theta is equal to 180, then I will get R is equal to P minus Q whole square under root. So then what I will get R is equal to P minus Q or Q minus Q. Understood? So what about the here also we will get tan alpha value is equal to 0, then alpha is equal to 0. So what is the direction of the resultant vector? Resultant vector direction will be in the direction of the vector of greater magnitude. Which vector is greater? So in that direction the resultant vector will be there. Understood now? So this is the second case based on parallelogram. So third case. So regarding this parallelogram, third case. If theta is equal to 90, whenever theta is equal to 90, so two vectors are perpendicular. If theta 90, so when P bar and Q bar are perpendicular, when theta 90 we get R value, R is equal to root over P square plus Q square because cos 90 value is 0. Then what is the formula for we will get the tan alpha? Tan alpha value will get Q divided by P. Otherwise we will get tan beta value is equal to tan beta is equal to P divided by Q. Understood? So this is when two vectors are perpendicular vectors. Parallel vectors, anti-parallel vectors and perpendicular vectors. So let us see in the next case. If two vectors of equal magnitude, if P is equal to Q, for indicating the magnitude is equal, we can write either modulus of P bar is equal to modulus of Q bar. Otherwise I can also write P is equal to Q without adding. Whenever P value is equal to Q value, then what will get the value of R? R value given by root over, so P square plus P square plus 2P square into which one? Cos theta. So from this what will get R value? Root over 2P square into how much I get? 1 plus cos theta. So 1 plus cos theta value R is equal to root over 2P square into, so this is 1 plus cos theta value 2 into cos square theta value. How much? 2 into cos square theta value. Then what will get R value? R value is equal to 2P into cos theta value. So this is the formula to calculate the direction of the resultant whenever two vectors of equal magnitude. Directly we can use R is equal to 2P into cos theta by 2. For example, in this case, if theta is equal to 60 degrees, when theta is equal to 60 degrees, what will get R value? R is equal to 2P into cos 60 value. So that is of cos 60 by 2, that is 30 degrees. Cos 30 degrees value will be equal to root 3 by 2. So then what will be the answer for R? R is equal to root 3 into P. Similarly, we can also calculate. So what is the R value? Whenever theta value is 90 and also theta value is equal to 120. So we will discuss that case also. What is this? In this only B, if theta is equal to 90, two vectors of equal magnitude but perpendicular to each other. That time what will be the answer for R is equal to 2P into cos 90 by 2. That is cos 90 by 2, cos 45 degrees. Cos 45 degrees value 1 by root 2. So I will get the answer root 2 into P. So one more very important case for you. So if theta is equal to 120, two vectors of equal magnitude but angle between them is 120 degrees. That time what will get R value? R value is equal to 2P into cos 120 by 2 is nothing but cos 60 degrees, which is 1 by 2. Then what will get R value? R value is equal to P, but P value is equal to Q. So whenever the resultant of two vectors of equal magnitude, if they are acting at an angle 120 degrees with each other, then the resultant value is equal to magnitude of either vector. That is R value is equal to how much? P which is equal to Q. So these are the some special cases related with which one parallelogram. While doing numericals also, many number of questions are based on this parallelogram. So this is one law for vector addition. So after completion of this, let us see the next law. What is the second law for the vector addition? That is triangle law of vector addition. Which law? Triangle law of vector addition. What is second law? What is triangle law of vector addition? So according to this law, whenever two vectors are represented by two sides of a triangle, so two sides of a triangle taken in the same order. Let me consider one vector is P bar, other vector is Q bar. By taking these two vectors as the two sides, if I construct one parallel triangle, the closing side of the triangle taken in this reverse order. So that will represent which vector? R bar. That is R bar is equal to P bar plus what? Q bar. Even similar to the term, if theta is the angle between P bar and Q bar, then we get the formula for R here also. So P square plus Q square plus 2 into P into Q into how much? Into cos. Understood? But remember here, so two vectors are represented by two sides of a triangle taken in the same order. Same order in the sense, if I call it as O, so OA, then AB. The closing side of the triangle means, so that is given by which one now? OB, which is taken in which order? Reverse order. So reverse order will represent which vector? Present vector. So this is called as what? Triangle law of vector addition. Even this triangle law can be also stated in terms of equilibrium forces. What is equilibrium? What is equilibrium forces? For example, let us consider three forces are there. So three forces I will consider. So one is given by F1 bar, and this is given by F2 bar, and last one is given by F3 bar. So let us suppose the three forces acting on a particle simultaneously, which are co-initial forces. Okay, starting from the same initial point. If these forces are representing, so these forces are acting on a particle simultaneously. So if this particle is in equilibrium, then these forces can be represented by three sides of a triangle taken in the same order. So, and one more important point here is a vector can be displaced without changing in its direction. So let me consider here three vectors. One vector here I will take F2 bar displaced to here. Similarly, I will put it on here, it is of F1 bar. So I take an F1 bar and F2 bar in the same order. So as per this diagram, the closing side of the triangle. So this will give you what? F3 bar. But three vectors are represented by three sides of a triangle, taken in the same order or reverse order. So taken in the same order. That time what happen? The resultant vector will become 0. That forces are said to be, that particle is said to be what? In equilibrium. For keeping the particle in equilibrium, so what is the notation? When three forces are represented by three sides of a triangle taken in the same order. Okay now? So if I call this is A and this is B, so this is C. Whenever three forces are represented by three sides of a triangle in the same order, so we can also write this is F2 bar, it is F1 bar. Then what can I able to write? The magnitude of the force divided by the magnitude of that side line. So what is F1 divided by AB? I can write it as F2 divided by AC will be equal to F3 and divided by how much of BC. When this formula is applicable, whenever the three forces are in equilibrium. Clear? Regarding the equilibrium we will discuss. But the only thing here we will come to know, three forces acting on a particle simultaneously, then what happens? If the particle is in equilibrium, we can represent that three forces will be three sides of a triangle taken in the same way. So this is the triangle. After completion of this, next one is, what is polygon? Polygon law of vector addition. Third, polygon law of vector addition. If I want to add more than two vectors, then I can discuss the polygon. According to the polygon law, when number of vectors are represented by number of sides of a polygon taken in the same order. Let me call this is P bar, this is Q bar, and it is S bar, and this is some T bar. Then the closing side of the polygon taken in the reverse order represent which vector? Resultant R bar. Therefore, R bar is equal to P bar plus Q bar plus S bar plus T. Okay now, when number of vectors are represented by number of sides of a polygon taken in the same order, the closing side of the polygon taken in the reverse order represent the resultant. So even some applications are there based on this polygon. Whenever if I instead of the number of vectors, the number of forces are there. So I may consider polygon in the sense it may be a hexagon or pentagon or octagon. So for example, n number of forces are there. N number of forces are represented n sides of a polygon. N sides of a polygon. So taken in the same order. Then what happened to the resultant force? So resultant force value will be 0. When resultant force value will be 0, so what is the angle between the adjacent forces are given by 2 pi by 2. When n number of forces are represented by sides of a polygon such that the angle between the adjacent forces are given by theta is equal to 2 pi by 2. So all forces are taken in the same order. The resultant force value will be equal to 0. How many number of forces are required to keep the body or to be in equilibrium if they are represented by sides of a polygon such that the angle between the adjacent sides are given by theta? So n value will be given by 2 pi by theta. Application for this polygon law. We will come to know how many number of forces are required so to keep the body in equilibrium or for them to be equilibrium if they know the angle between the adjacent forces. So we can calculate how many number of forces are given means we can calculate the angle between the adjacent forces. So this is one of the application for which one now? Polygon. After this polygon, so we come to know three laws now: parallelogram law, triangle law, and polygon. So next one is, what is the meaning of equilibrium force? Equilibrium force. For example, three forces acting on a body. Let us suppose, so one is of F1 bar, and other is of F2 bar, and other is of F3 bar. Three forces acting on a body. Correct? Then the resultant of three forces let me call FR bar. What is FR bar? Actually here they are mutually perpendicular. I will write that is not necessary. Just I will write FR bar is the resultant of which one? F1 bar, F2 bar, and F3 bar. So what is the meaning of equilibrium force? So equilibrium force is a single force which is equal and opposite to which one? Opposite to the resultant of number of forces. So if I call the equilibrium force is given by Fe bar, so Fe bar should be equal and opposite to Fr. So then I can call Fe bar as a equilibrium force. If I apply Fe bar which is equal and opposite to Fr bar, then what happens? The body will be in equilibrium. So this force is called as what? Equilibrium force. A single force which is equal and opposite to the resultant of number of forces. So because of the applying this single force, the body will be in equilibrium. And one more important point here is, generally a single force will never keep the body in equilibrium. What does it mean? So if the result, for example, the resultant of all this is given by Fr, then body will move in the direction of which one? Fr. If I don't want to move the body, to keep the body in equilibrium, so I needed to apply a force which is equal and opposite to which one? Fr. That force only what? Equilibrium force. But remember, single force will never keep the body in equilibrium. If only Fr bar is acting means, will it keep the body in equilibrium? No. So for example, the body moving. On this a force is applied Fr. Now body will move in the direction of Fr. To keep the body in equilibrium, what I needed to apply? I needed to apply a force which is opposite and equal to which one? F bar. Then body will be in equilibrium. So single force will never keep the body in equilibrium. The minimum number of forces which are equal to keep the body in equilibrium are 2. So when I apply 2 equal and opposite forces, towards the right side the force of 5 newtons, left side also I applied 5 newtons. So minimum how many equal forces are required which are coplanar. Coplanar forces means the forces which are in the same direction, which are in the same plane. Then the minimum force is required to keep the body in equilibrium. So that will be of how much over 2. If they are unequal, the minimum unequal coplanar force is required to keep the body in equilibrium is 3. If the forces are equal or unequal, if they are non-coplanar means they are not in the same plane. The minimum force is required to keep the body in equilibrium is 4. Equilibrium, understood now? Equilibrium force. So okay, after completion of this equilibrium force, last topic of this class we discuss is, so what is Lami's theorem? Lami's theorem. So let us suppose 3 forces are there. Let me consider the 3 forces such that P bar, one force is P bar, one force is Q bar, and the last one is given by R bar. Let us suppose alpha is the angle between Q bar and R bar. Beta is the angle between P bar and R bar. And gamma is the angle between P bar and Q bar. When 3 forces acting on a particle simultaneously, from the same point 3 forces are acting such that, so that the body or that particle is in equilibrium. 3 forces which are acting on a particle, keeping the particle in equilibrium. Then according to the Lami's, so what we can able to write, the magnitude of any force divided by sine of the angle between the other 2 forces. If I consider the magnitude of P bar is P, so what is the sine of the angle between the Q bar and R bar? That is sine alpha. P by sine alpha is equal to, so Q divided by. So what is the sine of the remaining 2 forces? Q bar, P bar and R bar is beta. So Q by sine beta is equal to R divided by sine gamma is equal to constant. This ratio is constant according to which theorem? Lami's theorem. Then for objective point of view, for doing numericals, so this theorem also important. But remember, when this theorem is applicable, so when we know when 3 forces are acting on a particle simultaneously such that the particle is in equilibrium. If it is in equilibrium, then only we can apply this theorem. To apply this theorem, we should know the angle between the forces or the vectors. P by sine alpha is equal to Q by sine beta is equal to R divided by sine gamma. So this is for Lami's theorem. Today class, so what we discussed for vector addition. And last point regarding the vector addition is, so vector addition obey commutator law. Laws of vector addition. So vector addition obey, first one is, it obey commutator law. Commutator law will obey. That is A bar plus B bar is equal to B bar plus C bar. And also vector addition obey associative law. Vector addition is associative. What is associative means? If 3 vectors, if I consider A bar, B bar, C bar, you can add any 2 vectors first your wish. A bar plus B bar plus C bar is equal to A bar plus B bar plus C bar. So this is called as associative law. Similarly, vector addition obey distributive law. It obey distributive law. So what is distributive law? If k is any scalar such that k into P bar plus Q bar will become k into P bar plus k into Q bar. This is called as distributive. So vector addition is commutative, vector addition is associative, and vector addition is distributive. Okay, so this is the for vector addition. After completion of the vector addition, so we will do vector subtraction. Vector subtraction can be done with the help of vector addition. So in the next class, I will discuss regarding the vector subtraction. Then we will see the applications of vector subtraction. The main important concept of vector subtraction application is relative velocity. So tomorrow class we discuss relative velocity concept, that is motion of a boat in a river problem concept, and also we discuss rain and umbrella problems. Okay, tomorrow relative velocity concept is very important, that is based on this one, vector subtraction. Okay, so in the next class we will continue. Thank you.